Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's collective reading. I don't really structure my readings that much, but here we are. Let's get you a Divine Abundance Oracle to start. Let's find out what the energy is here. Let's find out what y'all are going through. Dear friends, that's what the beginning of this says. Dear friends, with a little hummingbird, it looks like. Hummingbirds are significant right now. Thank you all for being here so very much. Thank you for all the love, all the comments. This channel's been growing by the thousands, which is so beautiful to see. Thank you for your donations, extremely helpful. I have opened personal readings in the past week, I think. It was last week. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. But also trust that you're getting just what you need if you're here in this video right now. So if you're unable to. So let's get into the divine abundance of this reading. What have we got here, Spirit? What have we got for the collective today? Humility. Allow me, Divine, to always accept the right assistance. I welcome your help in every way and delight in receiving it. With the owl there. Super interesting. Okay. Beautiful. Freedom on the bottom of the deck. I no longer want this fiery ring of resentment to block the good. Release me from its bonds. Okay. That's some energy right there. So there's freedom and humility, right? Sometimes we feel like we are doing things in our own power, right? In life. Sometimes we start really moving forward in a way where we get ourselves trapped in thinking that we have to do everything or that our judgment is, the judgment that is right above all, or that is, But humility is, I think, about surrendering and really looking at things with a discerning eye, where we can not only look at our own judgment as valid, but where we allow Spirit and the greater plan to move through us. And this gives us freedom. This allows us to let go of resentment. It allows us to forgive. And forgiveness and releasing resentment is not necessarily about the other person or whatever situation that we're in. It's always about us. It's always about letting go of things for ourselves. And humility is the best. It's the best because it allows us to move forward realistically. It allows us to move forward in the way that is most aligned with us, right? Because anything other than humility, like anything that's egotistical, anything that feels like it's sort of outside the lines of what Spirit is saying is aligned for us, it never leads us to a good place. And it often comes from deeper pain. It comes from trying to escape something that we are feeling uncomfortable about. So let's get deeper into that. Where do we want to go next here? I want to go to the Citadel. I'm using all the new decks that I bought, y'all. I bought some new decks yesterday that I'm very excited about. I wanted to get into this deck, though, because it's very, very beautiful, and it has like a lot of lore to it. I feel the Citadel here. Look at this. Beautiful cards. Let's get into it. Let's find out what the Citadel has to say to this collective here. What's going on from the Citadel? Okay. So we have the Chiromancer as the main energy for you here. What's that say? Delivering news, collaboration. And the bottom of the deck is the Masquerari. Is that how we say this? Hiding your true self, projection. Okay, this goes so hand in hand with the humility thing and the freedom. Okay. So the Chiromancer is like a palm reader, right? The Chiromancer is able to kind of see destiny, see the future in the lines of the palms, right? Hmm. It's sort of like, okay, yeah, it's sort of like what's written in the stars here, like what's written in the palms is set. What's here is here. What's real is real. What's in this moment is in this moment. That's the humility part of this, right? In humility, we can see, we can bow to the experience of the universe. We can bow to whatever is here for us in our present moment. But it's this mask that we try to create. It's these masks that we try to craft to cover over less than comfortable truths, or to cover over the parts of life that we just feel, our egos feel don't line up with what our egos want, right? This can also not necessarily be like a sinister manipulative thing. This can be like a subconscious coping mechanism kind of thing, right? That's what our egos are there for. Our egos really at the end of the day are designed to protect us from certain things we've been through in life. They're designed to protect us and to move us through the world in a way that feels safe. The problem with the ego is when it takes over. And when those coping mechanisms that once served us at a certain time in our life are now just liabilities, in that they don't allow us to move forward, they limit us, or they harm ourselves and others. Or if this ego causes you to deny reality, to causes you to deny the present moment for what it is in humility. The freedom here is in allowing this mask to drop, to stop projecting, also like to stop projecting onto reality or onto other people what you wish to be true, and to accept what is true, right? Like in the palms of your hands, written in the stars, it's already there. The greater plan is already at work without your involvement. It's living through you, but sometimes we have to really get out of the way here to find true freedom. You know what's super interesting too? I just watched a TikTok. I just reposted a TikTok just before starting this reading, and this is very relevant. Everything's a sign, y'all. It was this woman, and it was kind of like satire, but not satire because it's also so real. She was like, okay, I'm unemployed. I live at home with my parents. I don't got a boyfriend or a husband. Like, I'm a loser. And she starts running around like outside, just chanting like, I'm a loser, but she's like saying it joyfully, like she's free, right? Basically being like, this idea that society has fed us, that we need to like have all these things lined up, right? That we need to be fitting into the systems of society in a certain way, that we need to be wearing the mask and playing the game and playing the character a certain way to not be a loser, to be a winner, to be successful, right? She's like flipping it on its head, saying like, I'm a loser and I'm free. Like, I don't care. I like it. And that's kind of the vibe of this reading, I feel like. It's like, yeah, I am what I am. And that's good enough. That's perfect. I am what I am. And I'm humble in that. Like, I understand that that's who I am. I don't have all these things lined up. I don't necessarily have it all figured out. Some people like me, some people hate me kind of thing. But like, I don't need to pretend. I don't need to pretend. We don't need to pretend that we are something that we aren't. And again, that comes back to that need for safety. It comes back to that need, like all that conformity is in society, and all that playing the game and playing the matrix, if you will, and the simulation, if you will. Getting a ringing in my left ear here. Confirmation. Stillness, silence. What are you trying to say? Drop the act. Drop the act. Yeah, that's what it's about here. Like, drop the act, you know? Everybody's acting. Everybody's playing a role. Everyone's playing a game, whether they realize it or not. That is what human life is. It's what life itself is. And like I said, these Like, because you see how he's here, like, or he or she is here painting this mask, designing it. That's all part of it. That's part of human life, designing and expressing ourselves and making ourselves into something to have a human experience. The question is that thing, is that expression that you're putting out there, is that thing a genuine, open channel expression to who you really are in the moment? Or is it designed to hide who you really are in the moment? Let's get into the tarot. Let's get into the tarot. King of Swords. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What's this? King of Pentacles reverse. Didn't we just have those two cards coming out and like battling each other in a reading recently? Seven of Cups. Temperance. The Devil. Six of Wands reverse. The Hanged Man on the bottom of the deck, okay? Okay. Okay. So I'm speaking to people right now who you have learned in life, you have picked up a very certain perspective, a very certain way of looking at life, and a very certain way of feeling like you have to show up in life to be, like I said, okay or safe. I might be clocking some of y'all here, okay? And I feel that a lot of you here are aware of this, but it's like because it's been your life story, because this is what you were taught, because this is who you maybe even embodied, or maybe still embody to an extent, it's sometimes hard to see until you have an outside perspective, right? It's like, it's that saying, you can't solve the problem from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. So if you're in it, it can be hard, but this is what this is here. So I'm seeing that some of you, like this is like, I feel the template for like Western society, for how people see needing to live life. King of Swords upright, King of Pentacles reverse. It's like needing to be this super logical, super rational. Everything needs to make sense. Everything needs to fit into a system. Everything needs to be scientific. Everything needs to be provable. With King of Pentacles reverse, and it's like needing to create an empire, needing to have all the money, needing to be wealthy, needing to have like 5 businesses going at once, like needing to just be the boss, needing to just be the man kind of vibe, regardless of gender, right? This is what this is giving me here. It's just very, it's very like hyper masculine, but unaware masculine energy. And this is society. Like I feel I'm tapping into social, collective, societal energy. So if you have fallen victim to this, or if you've fallen at any point in your life to this mentality, this is natural. That's human psychology, human sociology. Like, it's just giving me the whole, shtick of like, oh, like my child's going to be like a doctor or a lawyer because that is seen as successful and profitable in the eyes of society. My child's going to be a business owner. My child's going to be a CEO. My child's going to be president of the United States. Like that kind of vibe where it's like needing to be like the authority, needing to be dominant in some kind of field, needing to just be this like freaking, how am I trying to say this? Like trying to just be like the man, you know? Like, you know, that archetype, like trying to be like the man who just like I'm getting such a specific image in my head. It's giving me very Five of Swords energy as well, where it's like just like killing, destroying, like stepping on heads to get to the top, and I'm here at the top of the mountain holding the sword, and like look at me in my pride. But it's like looking at all of just the like destruction that's been caused by it, whether consciously or subconsciously. Like this is the energy here. So this is giving me like, this is where you have grown, this is what you've grown up in, this is what you've learned here. This is what you've been taught is the way to be okay or safe in this world. And I just explained it in a very extreme way, but subtly, right? It leaks into every aspect of our culture, because when we're taught that, it's so ingrained and so indoctrinated into our minds that that's the way that you should be, to be like, especially like as men, to be, but again, regardless of gender, it's really hard to let that go. And even when you do step into a softer life, even when you do step into a more patient time, so now we're getting into the Seven of Cups and Temperance here, so that even when you do step away from that and you do allow yourself to explore other options other than that template, it's almost like you feel like you still have to chase that somehow, or you still feel the lack of self-worth. You still feel the insecurity, the self-doubt that you're not that thing. And it's like maybe feeling like you have to fit who you are into this mask. Still, even if you've done this work to spiritual work or psychological work to accept yourself as you are, it's like this social pressure, this mythos of our society is still so strong. It still has its tentacles and its hooks, right, in everybody. Interesting. Okay. And maybe because of this too, it's caused you to feel like having to chase after this energy, having to chase after being this thing, or having to uphold this for other people out of fear or out of shame or whatever. It's like it's caused you to feel like a lack of joy in life. It's caused you to feel a lack of meaning, a lack of celebration, and maybe also really attached you to like, well, certain earthly attachments, like whether that's addictions, whether that's poor relationships, just being trapped and attached to the illusion, trapped and attached to like the mythos in general. It's like being married to something that's hollow. Like it's being married to a mirage is the feeling, is when we fall into this, when we allow ourselves to keep believing in something that is really just, again, a myth. It's sort of like, yeah, it's a myth. So with the Hanged Man on the bottom of the deck here, it's like, I feel that this whole reading is really about perspective shift. It's really about surrender and perspective shift, surrendering again to this humility. I love this image. Like I can't even get over how beautiful and summarizing that image is for the energy I'm feeling here. Like bowing before the divine, bowing before the reality of the present moment, bowing before this is the now. This is who I am. This is who I am as well, because humility is not necessarily about lowering the self, right? It's not necessarily about lowering the self into submission. I mean, it's lowering the ego into submission, yes, but the self, it's actually about seeing the self clearly. And sometimes to see the self clearly, we actually need to see ourselves in a more loving light. We need to see ourselves in a more empowering light, because we're seeing ourselves actually as lower than we are sometimes when we've been through this. So this is really, I feel this whole thing is about getting like a bird's eye view, or just looking at things differently, looking at the way you've been taught life should be, from a different angle. And like this goes for everybody watching this reading, right? This doesn't just necessarily go for people who are just starting their healing journey. Like this story, this ego, this mask, this mythos is so ingrained in all of us, no matter how deeply we have awakened spiritually. The remnants, the residual, the echoes, the ripples still live in all of us if we are living our day-to-day in this system, in this society, in this world. We are operating in it all the time, and we're operating around people who operate in this even more deeply, subconsciously and unconsciously all the time. So always checking in with our perspective. Like, am I falling for the myth? Am I falling for the illusion? Am I falling for society's story that has taught me that I need to be, this thing, again, regardless of gender, the man. And to have humility, to recognize that wherever you are, whoever you are, wherever you're at, is exactly where you're supposed to be. It's exactly who you're meant to be, as you are. And that existing in that way, you are such an anomaly, such a beauty, such a strange, wonderful, awesome being. And that by stepping outside of this template, you actually have a greater power to enact change, a greater power to live more fully and in fuller alignment. Even if other people think that's weird, even if other people think that's wrong, even if other people think that's strange or bad, or that you're just like opting out. Well, yeah, yeah, you are, because it's your truth. It's your honesty. This message came to me earlier tonight. I almost said earlier tonight. Maybe another message is going to come early tonight. Time. We're always tapping in, non-linear. Earlier this morning, like in the night, the middle of the night, and it was this message about how, detours are not us straying from the path. Detours are actually the path itself on our path. So taking the detour, it's like you're stepping away from the man-made highway that everybody says is the way, the fastest route to the destination. But when you step away and go through the back roads, go through these strange paths that have been forged through nature by like the road less traveled, this is where the beauty lies. This is where so much of the actual richness and aliveness of life comes from, as these detours, as these places that not many people go. And although people on the highway might be like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you go off on that road? Like, you're going to get to the destination a lot faster if you just stick with us, stick on this highway, this man-made highway that's been designed for efficiency, right? You're just going to, if you allowed that pressure of the game to get to you, you'd stay, but it's boring. It's like, it's hollow, it's cold. It's lifeless in a lot of ways. Yeah, it might get you somewhere faster, but is that really the point? Whereas if you have the courage to step off that highway and to go explore, maybe without a map even, no road map, just explore the back roads, you're going to find some really beautiful gems. And those gems will be even more precious because a lot of them will be just for you, or just the very small circle that you spend your time with. And you'll find things that other people, it's available to everyone, right? These back roads, these detours, anybody can take them. Anybody can find these beautiful gems, but not everyone's willing. Because so many people are believing the lies, the myths about how we have to be one certain thing to be safe and to fit in the system and to be okay. But that's not the truth. Honeybee, that's not the truth. What else here, Spirit? What else wants to come through? Death reverse. Six of Pentacles reverse. Okay, yeah, so like, I feel for some of you, for a lot of you, there's a death that needs to happen here. There's an ending to this way of being. There's an ending to subscribing to this way of life, to the way systems work, Do I bring this up, Spirit? Do I bring this up? Like, there are some people who will look at you and they'll think you should be doing it a certain way when you start doing it your way. When you start doing things your way that feels like a flow for you. And maybe that flow for you doesn't necessarily make as much money as like the other thing that you were doing before or that someone else would do. Or maybe that thing doesn't necessarily gain you what society would deem as the successful thing, right? Like it's infinite, right? The things that we can do and that happen when we step away from the path. But it's that whole, you know what I'm talking about, inner poverty or inner wealth versus outer poverty and outer wealth. Like so many people on the inside or on the outside are like doing well or doing okay. Maybe they're even wealthy, but on the inside there's poverty. They're unhappy. They're not aligned with their soul's mission. Whereas you, I feel, Spirit's calling you into the opposite. Like maybe the outside might not look like it matches with, again, society's template, but on the inside you feel happy, you feel joy, you feel aligned because you have an abundance of love, an abundance of perspective, an abundance of wisdom, an abundance of joy, an abundance of peace, an abundance of humility here, right? An abundance of having enough or being able to make enough out of any situation, which not everyone can do because they've been taught that they need external things to validate their internal state. Confirmation bird. So Spirit's saying, you know, maybe some of you here are resisting letting all of this go, resisting letting the full old life or the full old mask, the full old character just die. Some of you, it's like, I feel, have one foot in the door here, out the door, and one on the... This should be simple here, Spirit. Right? This should be simple. But it's not for some reason. It's like you have one foot out the door, one foot in, and it's like, you know that the path of Spirit is like the greater path here. You know the path of your soul and your spirit, and this sort of detour, this sort of back roads, maybe even this exploration is the right path. This road less traveled, but it's like you still have a foot in the other side of it, a foot in still feeling like you have to maintain a template or still feeling like you have to maintain a formula for other people. Maybe you even have a split in, like, if you're a public figure, like an audience even. Maybe you did something before where it was more of like a socially acceptable thing, and so you have an audience from that time, but now you're exploring into this new thing and you have an audience from that time, and it's like there's 2 feet, right, in each world, and you're having a hard time letting go. But Spirit, I think, here is saying, like, let go of the old here fully. Like, it's safe to let go of that past thing because it's ready to die, and it already has died is what I'm getting here. It's overdue for its death. And with 6 of Pentacles reverse underneath, it's like Spirit's saying, yeah, like, look at this cornucopia here in the middle of that, all that fruit, all that abundance. Reverse, it's like 7 of Pentacles was reversed under it too. 6 of Pentacles reverse is saying, like, you're not getting out of it what you think you are here. Like, what you're putting into that past life, what you're putting into trying to maintain this old character, this mask, or trying to maintain, even if this is subconscious, by the way, what you're doing by trying to maintain that or hold that is, it's not allowing you to receive the fullness of what's for you if you were to go all in to this new path, this spiritual path, this creative path too, because creativity and spirituality are intertwined. Like, the creativity, the genius, the truth that is unfolding for you, or that could unfold for you, it can't fully unfold unless you fully let go, right? The full abundance, the full true wealth, right? And that could be material wealth as well. It just might not look the way that, and it might not come to you the way that it normally does for most people. It can't come unless you let go. You have to be willing to have that faith to say, okay, Spirit, I trust in, like, the deeper laws of the universe. I trust in my deeper source here. And I trust that if I let go, if I free fall, because it feels like a free fall when you let go of that mask, I trust that I will be caught. I will be held. that there will be a safety net there for me. And that even if I can't see it immediately, it will reveal itself in time, that this is all part of the journey. This is all part of the path. So with that, I kind of want to get to a closing message because I don't want this to go too long. I feel that that's really it. Let's go to the sacred creators here and see what wants to come through. This is beautiful. This is joyful. Even if it feels scary. What's the closing message here, Spirit, for this collective? Your past supports your future and success and transformation. What does your soul say as the underlying? Okay. Now this desk here in front of me, so full of cards. I just set this up last week and I'm living. And that's actually, you know what? I am going to share that from my story here. This here, reading cards for you here, like reading intuitive messaging, reading into energy, this is not something I saw myself doing in a million years. I really did not. I spiritually had my awakening in like 2020. So it's been 5 years now that I've been really committed to the spiritual path. And I've learned a lot of spiritual knowledge, and I've always shared bits and pieces of that on my social media. And I've always thought, you know, I want to incorporate this because I'm a musician first for my whole life I've been a musician and singer, songwriter, and performer. And like, when I spiritually awakened, it's like so many things in my life, like this mask here that we're talking about, right? It started to fall apart, and I started noticing how things just weren't working anymore. And that all the investment I was putting into the template, the formula for the music industry wasn't getting back to me what I was putting into it. I would feel burnt out. I'd feel like emotionally and mentally, like I would have emotional breakdowns all the time, and I would feel just mentally so stressed and pressured to keep up with it. And it was something that I didn't feel was giving back to me as much as I was putting into it. And I was afraid for a long time to truly express and show my intuitive and spiritual gifts and psychic abilities, even because I've known for quite some time with some of the really wild premonitions and like deep spiritual experiences I've had where I'm like, oh, like this is real, this is very real, and I have these abilities. I've been very hesitant to share them because, again, it's like literally this crossroads, this 1 foot in out the door, 1 foot in, where it's like this past life of mine gave me so much at one time, and it felt so real and so meaningful to me at one time, and it was the thing I believed in at one time. But then when that falls away, to step into the new, it's by its very nature unknown, but it feels like it's drawing me. It feels like a passion. It feels exciting. But I hesitated for a really long time, even though the old life was screaming at me like, this is falling apart. It's not for you anymore. In that way, 33 on the timer. And in a lot of ways, that past life was actually betraying me. And I feel Spirit was trying to reflect to me, like, it's time to move on into something different, or to expand into something new, to look at things a different way. And it wasn't until I fully committed to this now here, and, you know, doing things like this, like setting up the desk, setting up my little spiritual station, and actually sharing it, that now I'm actually being given back to. So that's just my story to reflect back to you. Like, this is usually how it works and how it can happen for people, is the old life just that we upheld for so long, that bolstered our ego, that bolstered a certain character identity we had, is meant to fall away at some point. At some point, it's going to fall away, and we have to be willing to let go of that and to have the courage to step into the new. So with your past supports your future here, yeah, definitely. Like, I was getting such a past vibe from this, where like the past life was not for nothing. The past life wasn't for nothing. And it's going, the wisdom and the lessons you've learned from this life, and from, again, the social mythos, the cultural mythos, and this character you've been taught, the lessons you've learned there will only contribute to your humility. I love that both these cards are purple like this. It will only allow you to see with this owl. It only allows you to see deeper into the nature of the human experience. And again, to find more enrichment, to feel more enrichment as you move forward. Like, experience, like, the success here is your transformation, is what I'm getting. Like, the success here is in this whole process, not where you're going, not where you're getting at. That's what I wanted to get across here, because I could feel this energy looming. I'm like, what is this? How do I explain this? So that's it. This isn't about where you're going. So this is not about like trying to get to a destination still, right? Because that's what that highway I was talking about. That's what most people are on. Most people are on that like wide and straight path, right? That is going to like a destination, straight to a destination. But that destination in a lot of ways is the devil card. It's just being chained to suffering, because you're always projecting your happiness and projecting your fulfillment onto some future place that might not ever even truly arrive. And it never does truly arrive when you get into the patterning of doing that, because you'll always, it's like a dangling carrot. You'll always hold the target out further and further from yourself, no matter where you get to. So the success Spirit's saying here is in this transformation. The whole success is being in the humility of the now and watching how your life is just unfolding in the now. And understanding that the whole journey, the entire thing is beneficial and the whole thing is supporting you. Everywhere you've been and everything you've done, even if you were on that highway for a while, well, now you have perspective from that. Every place you've been has given you deeper perspective. Even me here, right? Like, if I hadn't been through a lot of the misery and the suffering I've been through in my life, and hadn't been through so many unsatisfying junctures and places, or made mistakes, or been around people who were not for me, I would not have the wisdom I have now to be able to sit here and teach you. I would not have the wisdom that I have now to be able to sit here and channel and be able to translate what I'm feeling into words, because I've been through it, I've seen it, and I will continue to transform in that way in my life, and so will you. So the success is in your transformation here. I think that's what I want to name this reading. The success is in your transformation. And right now, within that, all Spirit's asking you to ask in each moment is, what does your soul say? What does that deeper soul say? When you are fully in alignment, head, heart, gut, soul, mind, emotions, body, what does your soul say from that place? And follow that. Allow yourself to follow that. Regardless of what anyone else says, it's your soul, it's your journey, it's your time here on this planet, that you're only here for a certain amount of time, very temporarily. So don't let a story, don't let a social structure or system or myth dictate who you become and how far you go in this transformation. Because death here, the death card, death is all about transformation, Scorpio energy. So that's really what it's all about. What else here, Spirit? I thought I was ending this. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Spirit, what does this mean? The dog's barking. Crazy. What's this mean? This actually happens to me, interestingly. Sometimes I'll be sleeping and I'll have like a revelation, and as soon as I have this revelation, I'll wake up to the dogs barking. So that's a sign. Okay, that's a sign that this is a really, really important message then for you. Like, the dogs are barking to try to get somebody's attention. Like, this is Spirit really saying, like, this is really important for you. To really let this sink in, really allow this to become practice for you, this humility practice. Maybe even getting in this position here. And allow Spirit to work through you. So that's your reading. I love you very, very, very much. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a beautiful morning, day, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.